You know, when we think of British Prime Ministers and the monarch, we always think really, because it's in our lifetime, of Queen Elizabeth II. I mean, she had literally so many Prime Ministers serving under her, starting out, of course, with some say her favourite, Winston Churchill. I would surmise, having talked to many people who literally knew the monarch, I think the reason why she liked Winston Churchill the most was he was her first, and more importantly, he knew exactly that she was very young, new to the job, and more importantly, had to be guided, and he had vast experience, as one can imagine, literally taking us through the Second World War. And then consequently, Queen Elizabeth literally met so many different prime ministers. Some she got on with, some she didn't. Many I've met frequently in the latter part of her reign, as one can imagine. And you can understand why certainly they clashed. But one monarch in particular had a difficult time with a man that literally was born here in the very heart of London, Lord Palmerston. What was the problem with Mr. Palmerston? Morning, Neil Sean here, nice to see you. Thank you so much for taking the time out to join me today. It's always lovely to share royal history, isn't it? Because we do think, don't we, that we kind of know it all, and then you come around and you think, aha, so this particular place where Lord Palmerston lived was a stone's throw, literally, from Buckingham Palace. And that was obviously very convenient. Even though he was born in this house, he did keep hold of it and still had it during his time as Prime Minister, even though at that point, of course, there was a bigger area to be considered for that prestigious role. Now, Queen Victoria herself, let's be honest, had a fractious relationship with quite a few people, seemingly because, once again, like our favourite monarch, well, mine at least, Queen Elizabeth, she came to the throne relatively young. And really, once Prince Albert had passed away, he was apparently her rock, the person that she turned to, and suddenly she's now having to trust people she's never actually met before. Now, the reason that she didn't particularly get on with Lord Palmerston particularly well was that he really had the ear of the media, the press. As I've told you before, you see, the royal media explosion kind of really started with Edward VII. He embraced that brand new, well, thing called moving pictures. He was very keen, of course, to be seen and be photographed looking resplendent and connecting with his subjects. Queen Victoria, as we know, wasn't that keen necessarily on being seen at all. In fact, right down to her Diamond Jubilee, she didn't want any real film. Everybody had to surreptitiously film her. But the bigger problem for Lord Palmerston was the fact that he, as I said, managed to make policies and then present them to her. And that really wasn't the way that the monarch was used to working. They frequently clashed, but he didn't care because he knew, after 46 years in government, he knew exactly what the public wanted to hear. And the more that she stayed away, whether she be up in Scotland at Balmoral or literally just hide her away in Buckingham Palace, unable to meet her public, his reign really did take hold. And that truly is the reason why, on the surface, you will read documents saying that they were cordial to each other, but most of the time, according to other papers, Queen Victoria really didn't even want to face him and would frequently look towards the fire, a painting, or indeed, at times when she was very annoyed with him, have her fall back to him on their weekly meetings. So different, of course, from the weekly meetings that we see and have seen of His Majesty the King, King Charles, and naturally other past meetings with Queen Elizabeth. All seem so jolly and nice and easygoing. Apparently not with this particular individual. And it all started right here where he was born, Lord Palmerston's very first residence in the heart of London. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.